John Calvin on Psalm 99. The Lord reigneth, let the people tremble. He sitteth between the cherubims, let the earth be moved. The Lord is great in Zion, and he is high above all the people. Let them praise thy great and terrible name, for it is holy. The king's strength also loveth judgment. Thou dost establish equity. Thou executest judgment and righteousness in Jacob. Exalt ye the Lord our God, and worship at his footstool, for he is holy. Moses and Aaron among his priests, and Samuel among them that call upon his name. They called upon the Lord, and he answered them. He spake unto them in the cloudy pillar. They kept his testimonies, and the ordinances that he gave them. Thou answeredst them, O Lord our God. Thou wast a God that forgavest them, though thou tookest vengeance of their inventions. Exalt the Lord our God, and worship at his holy hill, for the Lord our God is holy. Exalt the Lord our God, and worship at his footstool. He is holy. God desired to dwell in the midst of his people in such a manner as not only to direct their thoughts to the outward temple and to the ark of the covenant, but rather to elevate them to things above. Hence the term house or dwelling place tended to impart courage and confidence to them, that all the faithful might have boldness to draw near unto God freely, whom they beheld coming to meet them of his own accord. But as the minds of men are prone to superstition, it was necessary to check this propensity, lest they should associate with their notions of God things fleshly and earthly, and their thoughts should be wholly engrossed in the outward forms of worship. The prophet, therefore, in calling the temple God's footstool, desires the godly to elevate their thoughts above it, for he fills heaven and earth with his infinite glory. Nevertheless, by these means he reminds us that true worship can be paid to God nowhere else than upon Mount Zion. For he employs a style of writing such as is calculated to elevate the minds of the godly above the world, and, at the same time, does not in the least degree detract from the holiness of the temple, which alone of all places of the earth God had chosen as the place where he was to be worshipped. The design of the prophet is to distinguish between legal worship, which was the only worship that God sanctioned, and the superstitious rites of the heathen, and thus he summons the children of Abraham to the temple to worship God there after a spiritual manner, because he dwells in celestial glory. Now that the shadowy dispensation has passed away, God cannot otherwise be properly worshipped than when he comes to him directly through Christ, in whom all the fullness of the Godhead dwells. It were improper and absurd for anyone to designate him a footstool, for the prophet merely spoke in this manner to show that God was not confined to the visible temple, but that he is to be sought for above all heavens, inasmuch as he is elevated above the whole world.